Ankulika is from Pennsylvania State, and she will be talking. Her talk is titled "WhatsApp for Business: A Decolonial Perspective."
Hello. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Ankolika, a second-year PhD candidate from the College of Information Sciences and Technology at Penn State University. And I'll be presenting my work on WhatsApp business in India. This project constitutes of multiple studies, a part of which I've completed. And I'll talk a little bit about my preliminary findings and some of the proposed studies that I'm going to be doing in the future as well. So I'll go through the agenda first. So I'll introduce my topic and then talk a little bit about the background of the study. Then I'll go through some key theories in literature, introduce my proposed methods and some of the methodologies that I've used for the study that I'll be talking about. Then I'll describe my preliminary findings and finally contextualize it into future research and discussions. So let's move on to the introduction. So India is WhatsApp's largest user base with over 531.8 million active users all over the country. And this application is also used by a wide range of demographics in the country, making it one of the most used communication tools by both younger and older demographics. And this rise happened with the prevalence of smartphones as well as the introduction of cheap data prices and also a significant push towards digitalization in the country. Uh, and more than all of this, WhatsApp being introduced as a very simple and intuitive app marketed for easy communication made it a very popular app for everybody to use in the country. So a little bit of background information. Naturally, so like we'll talk a little bit more about how WhatsApp shifted from just personal communication use to like a business application. And this was because of India's prevalent use of WhatsApp that Meta kind of leveraged on it. And it released WhatsApp Business in India and several other countries starting 2018. So, this WhatsApp Business was a version of WhatsApp that would specifically be used for business communication. And it gradually integrated more features to make it a more robust end to end infrastructure that businesses can use as a complete pipeline. There was an extensive co-opting of this app as well in the country by different size businesses, and soon Meta also had more tools which were adaptable and made it like adaptable on its other social media platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, and so on. And what this led to was that there's an article in 2024 that was published where 80% of small and medium businesses in India viewed WhatsApp as a crucial channel for scaling their business. So now that we have this information, let's look into what my study is based off. So I heavily base my study from a lot of literature on infrastructure. Particularly, I delve into Graham and Marvin's work that talk about how infrastructures are capable of holding up power inequalities, and also on Susan Laystar's work, who talks about how infrastructure is visibilized more during breakdown. I intersect this with work on WhatsApp in India, particularly communication scholars and journalism scholars like Shaheen Kathawala and Jessica Maddox, who have written about the ritualistic and habitual role of WhatsApp among Indian users, and also a little bit about decolonial data studies, where scholars have explicated how the process of data capture and monetization by apps, platforms, and smart technologies, it contributes to the new emergence of a global social order that's shaped by capitalism, warranting resistance and challenge. So communication and information systems deployment and the rapid development in emergent economies necessitates studies that look at colonialism within powers and acts of capitalism. So I move on to my research question, which is how does Meta introduce, embed, and monetize WhatsApp for business within India's business ecosystem? And how do the gradual changes in their pricing and other monetization methods affect businesses? So to go into my proposed methods, some of this is already done. Some of this I've already worked on, and others that I'm going to be doing in the future. I'm not following a very rigid linear flow of methodology, and I'm rather using a very iterative mode of data collection where human subjects data as well as tertiary data from documents and content analysis supplement one another. So there's two major modes of data, content analysis and user interviews. I have partly done my content analysis from which the preliminary findings will be shared in the next slide. And I'm in the process of doing user interviews with business owners in India who use WhatsApp for business. So my preliminary findings basically go into two major points. First, to understand how the deployment and embedding of this application happened in India amidst India's already situated ritualized use of WhatsApp. And second, how changes in the WhatsApp business model that Meta has regularly been implementing are impacting these businesses. So the second question comes from the findings of the first part, and I'll be talking about some of the preliminary findings in the first part. So, how did WhatsApp business enter India, first of all? So, this was done by establishing partnerships, conducting large scale training, collaborating with major enterprises like Geo, and integrating all business needs into WhatsApp comprehensively. Second, how did Meta position WhatsApp in the Indian markets? So, WhatsApp business was positioned to be indispensable in the Indian market, with the CEO of Meta saying that India is a country that's at the forefront of a lot of what we are going to be talking about today, and beginning his lecture for for Meta's annual retreat in India. This was also co-opted by the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, and popularized through WhatsApp channels. Finally, what were the changes that Meta introduced to the WhatsApp business model? So, here Meta made slight monetization changes consistently. And starting June 2023, the WhatsApp business model, for instance, changed from being um, per message based to per conversation. And what this meant was that each message was now going to be charged. And this meant that the prices were hiked up in a way that impacted smaller businesses who originally depended on this very easy to use platform, but now had to pay the charges and the prices to continue using the infrastructure that their entire business pipeline was laid on. So, what are the key takeaways from this? First, I argue that WhatsApp business underwent a process of very strategic situated infrastructuring in India, focusing and leveraging India's existing familiarity with WhatsApp to generate revenue for itself. So, here, a situated infrastructuring, I refer to the contextual embedding and ongoing development of the app within users' everyday communication practices and social environments. And I also think that researchers must explore the practices of major corporations engaging in extensive product testing in the global south, potentially leading to exploitative behaviors. So, Meta's revenue strategy for WhatsApp for Business may actually disproportionately benefit larger corporations and exacerbate existing inequalities. And this is what the next part of my study aspires to understand, where I'm interviewing business owners who use WhatsApp in India. And these are different sized businesses, and the study is currently underway. So, that's all for my presentation. Thank you.